I recently hit 5,000 subscribers, and as promised, here is the Q&A video. Before I get started, I just wanted to say a massive thank you to everyone who has subscribed in the past year that I've been doing this, everyone who has liked my videos and commented on them and shared them with people, and an extra thank you to my patrons who have gone above and beyond to support the channel. I really appreciate all the support. So the first question is from Dangerous Andy, who says, what mystery/case have you found to be the most disturbing when investigating, and have you ever started investigating something and had to stop because it was just too horrific? There's not really many cases that I've had to stop investigating. I'm not really too keen on anything that focuses on animal abuse or anything like that. That's a topic that I tend to stay away from. In terms of ones that I've actively investigated, the coldness in my heart case was a very disturbing one, which is the one that I did in my last video. The images that you will inevitably see if you research that are probably ones that will not leave your mind anytime soon. But generally speaking, I try not to let disturbing things get to me too much. I feel like I can kind of disconnect in it. I wouldn't say that I'm desensitized, but I try not to let that kind of stuff get to me too much. So there's not really many cases that I've actually had to stop looking into. So the next question is from Deep Jest, who asked, which far-fetched and crazy conspiracy theory do you believe might be remotely true? So that's a really good question. There's probably quite a few if I really sat down and thought about it, but with a lot of conspiracy theories, I just tend to go back and forth on them. So there's a lot of celebrity death conspiracy theories that I'm quite interested in, but I can never make my mind up. Kurt Cobain and Michael Jackson and Marilyn Monroe. I'll watch one documentary on them and I'll be totally convinced that they got murdered, and then I'll watch another one and I'll be totally convinced that it was an accident or something. So there's not really many conspiracy theories that I wholeheartedly believe in. As for the more outlandish ones, I think Bigfoot is semi-plausible, and I can't believe I'm actually saying this. It's not one that I actively believe in, but I have watched quite a few documentaries on it, and it's definitely something that I think is more believable than a lot of other cryptids. But there's not really many far-fetched ones that I totally believe in. I just really enjoy researching them. So next question is from Valerie M, who asked, how do you unwind after researching a very disturbing story? I'm also very curious if you watch horror movies, and which one your favourite is if you do. So as for unwinding, as I said before, I try not to get too invested in cases to the point where it's actually really affecting me. So I don't often feel the need to fully unwind. But I do watch a lot of other things on YouTube and other series and stuff like that. I'm quite into makeup and skincare and hair care videos. I also like commentary videos on stuff like 90 Day Fiancé and just stupid reality TV and that kind of stuff. I find that quite entertaining. In terms of horror movies, I do really like horror movies, but I don't watch anywhere near as many as I used to. And I think that's maybe just because there doesn't seem to be that many good ones. And I'm all for like a trashy horror movie. You know, I think horror is definitely one of those genres that you can get away with it being a little cringy and a little bit cheesy, and it can still be entertaining. But I grew up watching things like Saw and Wrong Turn, so I do like, you know, movies like that, but I'm also not massively keen on paranormal things, and I feel like a lot of horror movies these days tend to be paranormal, whether it's ghosts or demons or something like that, and I'm not hugely into films like that. But I'm very much into kind of psychological thrillers with like horror aspects mixed in. Some movies like Midsummer and Gone Girl, you know, those are two that are very interesting, but they are kind of more psychological and mystery with a little bit of horror mixed in. The next question is from Lord Darkwood, who asked, since you are from England, do you enjoy tea often? If you do, what's your secret recipe for a perfect tea? I'm probably going to disappoint a lot of people here, but I don't like tea. The only tea that I can ever really drink is green tea, and to be totally honest, I'm not too keen on the taste of it. I think it kind of tastes like pond water, but it's supposed to be really good for you and it's got antioxidants. But my perfect recipe for that would be very weak with cold water, so it basically just tastes like cold water. But other than that, I'm not really too keen on tea, so sorry about that. The next question is from Chandler the Mandler, who asked, how did you get into mysteries and true crime? And what are your favourite channels/videos on YouTube? So mysteries and true crime is just something that I've always been interested in. I can't really remember how I first got interested in it. But ever since I was a young kid, I really enjoyed kind of hearing about mysteries and true crime and doing a little bit of searching for clues and stuff like that. I was always asking my mum and dad about murderers and true crime cases and stuff. So yeah, it's just something that I've always been interested in, really. As for my favourite channels and videos, I really like Nexpo and Scare Theatre, you know, some of the iconic internet mystery channels like that. As for like non-mystery related, I quite enjoy watching James and Robert Welsh. You know, they do skincare and makeup videos. I find them really entertaining. I'm living for Arthur TV at the minute. He does a lot of commentary videos and he's doing a lot on 90 Day Fiancé and Big Ed and those kind of things, and I find those things really funny and entertaining. So the next question is from SGTC Watley, who said, "Congratulations on closing in on 5,000. Thank you. Question, while researching for your channel, have you run across a story that made you say, you know what, no, meaning just too weird/sick, etc.? My answer for this is going to be pretty similar to the first question, in that there's not many cases that I actually stop looking into unless it's kind of just totally about like animal abuse or something like that. I'm not good with that kind of thing. But yeah, for the most part, there's definitely some cases that I don't know if I'll ever go back into looking into, like the Junko Furuta case. I mean, I'm glad I'm aware of that case, but it's just so horrifying that I don't think I'll ever go out of my way to, you know, read about it again. But yeah, there's few cases that I will actually stop researching because they're too disturbing. So next question is from Jordan Porter, who says, "Hey, big fan, thank you. I was wondering, out of true crime, internet mysteries and conspiracies, which are your favourite to make content on? Also, how do you organise your research and stuff before you write your scripts?" So that's a really good question, and it's one that I don't think I can really answer. I'm constantly just going back and forth, so at the minute I'm really into internet mysteries, but there's just so many fascinating cases in all three of those categories, and there's a lot of crossover between the three as well. Like, you might get a true crime case that is also a conspiracy, or a internet mystery with ties to real life. On the whole, like, it's just one that I constantly flip between. I'll find one case that might be true crime that I'm really interested in. Then, you know, I might just find another one that's an internet mystery or something else, and I'll just completely change my mind. So on the whole, I don't think I prefer any one of those three. I just think it depends on the time and which cases I'm looking into at any given time, I guess. As for organising research and stuff, so my process with writing up notes and doing research and that kind of thing, I'll decide on a topic for a video, or someone else might recommend a topic for a video. So I'll do like a little bit of light research on a case and just get a feel of what it's about and what the theories might be. I might make a couple of small notes while I'm doing that, or maybe just jot down some links that I'll need to visit later when I'm actually writing up the notes. But generally speaking, as I'm researching a case, I'm writing the notes up for it. So it's not really a case of organising anything, it's just doing both at the same time, really. So the next question is from Lord Darkwood again. What type of movies do you enjoy? Do you have any good movies that you would like us to check out? Also, what kind of music do you enjoy? Any music recommendations for us? In terms of movies, as I said before, I quite like horror movies. I'm also into comedies, psychological thrillers, just mystery films in general, I suppose. As for a couple of recommendations, I think I already mentioned Gone Girl and Midsummer. Joker was another really good film that I enjoyed. I definitely watch more series than movies at the minute. One series I watched recently that was very good was It's a Sin. I think Chernobyl was probably my favourite series ever, possibly. I'm very indecisive, so I'll go back and forth a lot. But that was an exceptionally good series. It was just so tense, so well written. So yeah, I definitely recommend that to anyone who hasn't seen it. As for music, I think it'd probably be easier to say what music I don't like. I've got quite a varied taste in music. I'm not huge on classical music. I'll go from listening to Queen to Little Mix to Red Hot Chili Peppers to Tame Impala. So in terms of recommendations, I can think of a couple offhand that you might not have heard of. I've been really into Young Franco at the minute, Glue Trip, Everyone You Know. I quite like kind of British music from like well over a decade ago, so like The Kooks or Baby Shambles, Dirty Pretty Things, The Libertines. So the next question, JDude84 says, it seems like you lean toward kind of a darker type mood in your videos. Would you ever dye your hair black or darker to better match the subject of your videos? So I've had darker hair and I've had black hair in the past. I've had all sorts of colours and I get bored of my hair pretty easily. I've had it black, I've had it brown, I've had it red, I've had it blue, pink, purple. Pretty much any colour you can think of, I've probably had my hair that colour. But since I bleached my hair blonde, I think I'm probably going to try and stick with it this time because it was just getting so damaged in the past where I was just dyeing it and bleaching it and dyeing it and bleaching it. When I first ever started this channel, my hair was like the shortest it's ever been because I just had to chop a load off because it was just so damaged. So I'm probably going to try and stick with blonde this time, but we'll see what the future holds. The next question is from Caitlin Hansen, who asked, what's your favourite grocery store aisle and why? That's a really good question. I think probably the one with all like the skincare and the hair stuff. I could probably spend hours on those aisles just like looking at all the products and reading the labels and stuff. It's really sad, but probably that if I had to pick. The next question is from Buddy Lenbeck, who says, if you could solve just one unsolved mystery, which would it be? Congrats on your amazing channel. I'm sure you will get to 5k and rocket to 100k. Thank you, that's really nice. If I absolutely had to pick one case to solve, this is a tough decision, but it would maybe be the West Memphis 3 case. That is one that I've been absolutely fascinated in for a long time. I've watched all the documentaries on it, watched all the YouTube videos, looked at every bit of information that I could possibly find. And it's just one that I constantly flip on. I think on the whole, I don't think they were guilty. But there's just so much evidence that could suggest either way that I'm honestly not sure. And I think that is one that I would really like to know whether they were guilty or not. The next question is from Lou Valor, who says, I want to ask the age-old question, cats or dogs? I love cats and dogs. If I had to pick which one I'd have as a pet, I think I'd probably pick a cat just because they're so much easier. Like, you can literally just put out food and water for them, have a cat flap, and they can do what they want. You don't have to bother walking them or anything like that. On the whole, I like both of them equally. I would just probably prefer to have a cat. The next question is from Victor Camper, who says, what made you want to start this channel? So, as I said earlier, I've just always been interested in mysteries and true crime and conspiracies and stuff like that. And I think like when we first started going into lockdown, obviously I've been working like normal throughout it, but I've had a little bit more free time with not being able to do anything else. Making YouTube videos in general is something that I wanted to do for a long time. I just kind of never got around to it and kept putting it off. So I suppose that was just the perfect opportunity, really. So the next question is from Damien O, who asked, can you stop speaking with that accent? My American ears have trouble understanding you sometimes. I could try and talk in an American accent, but I don't think I could keep that up for a long time, and my American accent isn't exactly the greatest either, so I think we're gonna have to stick with British for now. Oh, that was terrible. So the last question I'm going to answer today is from Splinky, who asked, for you, is YouTube just a side job / hobby, or are you serious about making YouTube videos for a living? If I could just make YouTube videos for a living, I totally would, but it's not really an easy thing to actually make a career out of. At the minute, obviously, I'm monetized on YouTube and I do have, I think, 5 patrons at the minute. So I do make a little bit of money from this every month, but it's certainly not enough to, you know, quit my job for or anything. I do hope that at some point in the not too distant future, I might maybe be able to cut my hours at my current job and focus on YouTube a little bit more. But as it stands right now, I'm still a little way off being able to do that, but I'm just gonna have to see what the future holds, really. So that's it for today's questions. Thanks to everyone who left a question. I really enjoyed answering them. And sorry that I didn't get around to answering them all, but I didn't want this video to be excessively long, and I feel like I picked quite a good selection that gave a general idea of what everyone wanted to know. But thanks for watching, and huge thank you to my patrons as always, and I'll see you on Thursday for a new video.